morning, it's Bob Mason from FX Empire and welcome to the daily crypto tech review of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin and Ripple's XRP. You're looking at the MACDs, the moving averages and the day's support, resistance and pivot levels. It is Sunday, the 17th of January. Jumping straight into Bitcoin against the US dollar and the hourly candlesticks. Choppy start to the day here. Going to need to see Bitcoin move through the pivot at 36,485 to take a run at the first major resistance level, sitting at 37,553. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Bitcoin to break back through to 37,000 levels, however. So barring an extended crypto rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and yesterday's high at 37,997 to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, should see Bitcoin test resistance at 40,000 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 39,064. Ready to move through the pivot, we'll bring the first major support level sitting at 34,974 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Bitcoin should stay clear of the second major support level at 33,906 and the 23.6% fib at 33,008. Looking at the MACDs, got a slight narrowing of the bearish histograms, supporting some upside through the morning. On the EMAs, however, we're seeing an imminent move, possible bearish cross there, the 50 through the 100. So need to keep an eye on that through the morning. So key through the early part of the day would be for Bitcoin to move through the pivot at 36,485 and return to 37,000 levels. Failure to do that, the support levels are in play. Moving across to Ethereum against the US dollar. Also a mixed start to the day here. Going to need to Ethereum avoid a fall back through the pivot at 1225 to take a run at the first major resistance level, staying at 1297. Going to see support from the broader market for Ethereum to break out from 1250 levels, however. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and yesterday's high at 1294 to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, could see Ethereum test resistance at 1400 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 1366. A fall through the pivot would bring the first major support level sitting at 1155 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ethereum should avoid the second major support level sitting at 1083 and the 23.6% fib at 1051. Looking at the MACD, we've got a widening of the bearish histograms after yesterday's late bearish cross, suggestive of some further downside through the morning. On the EMA, however, we are seeing the 50 hold its ground against the 100 and the 200, so need to keep an eye on the EMAs. So key through the early part of the day, avoid a fallback through the pivot at 1225, break through to 1250 levels to bring resistance levels into play. Better to do that, and support levels are in play. Moving across to Litecoin against the US dollar. Mixed starts of the morning here. Going to need to see Litecoin avoid a fallback through the pivot at 145.2 to take a run at the first major resistance level, seeing at 151. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Litecoin to break back through the 23.6% fib at 148. So barring extended rally on day, expect that first major resistance level and resistance at 155 to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, should see Litecoin test resistance at 160 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 158.57. A fallback through the pivot will bring the first major support level, sitting at 137.6 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Litecoin should avoid the 38.2% fib at 125. Second major support level sitting at 131.73 should limit the downside. On the MACDs, slight narrowing of the bearish histograms after yesterday's late bearish cross, but nothing conclusive to suggest further upside this morning. On the EMA, we're seeing the 50 continuing to hold its ground against the 100 and the 200, also inconclusive early this morning. So key through the early part of the day would be for Litecoin to avoid a fallback through the pivot at 145.2 and break back through the 23.6% fib to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that, and support levels are in play. Finally, looking at Ripple's XRP against the US dollar, it's a positive start to the morning. Going to see Ripple's XRP move through the pivot at 0.2836 to take a run at the first major resistance level, staying at 0.2921. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Ripple's XRP to break back through to 0.29 levels, however. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and Saturday's high at 0.29663 to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, should see Ripple's XRP test resistance at 0.3. At 0.3. Second major resistance level sits at 0.3051. Failure to move through the pivot would bring the first major support level sitting at 0.2706 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ripple's XRP should steer clear of the second major support level sitting at 0.2621. Looking at the MACD, slight narrowing of the bearish histograms after yesterday's bearish cross, but nothing suggestive of further upside through the morning, so keep an eye on that. On the EMA, we're seeing the 50 pull back away from the 100 and the 200, and the 100 pull away from the 200, suggestive of further downside through the morning. So key through the early part of the day and move through the pivot at 0.2836 and back through to 0.29 levels to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that and support levels are in play.